Welcome to the Bldng Legacies podcast. I know it's been a little minute. Me and my man E, we've been gone for a while. We took a little time off. We had to perfect our craft, professionally and personally. We had to do some things. We got a new co-host.
Yeah.
Many of you have seen her before. Bridget Smith. We got a new co-host. Before, she was just a person we was interviewing to find out about real estate. But we said, you know what? We like the numbers when she was with us. That's a good look. And I said, E, how would you like to have her on the show? And what was your response, E?
Yeah.
You like me because I'm a female. That's why you wanted to put me on here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We needed to cover that ground right there.
Right. Yeah, bring that feminine presence. But yeah, I know when you brought the idea, I thought it was excellent because just based off the interview we did with her, with just her vibe, her energy, her background in real estate, and other things, and just her personality, I thought it'd be a good fit. So it was definitely a good idea. So I'm definitely happy about that.
Absolutely, me too. How you like it? Being on as a co-host of a podcast, Bridget? You like that title, co-host?
Co-host.
Yeah, it makes me feel special.
That's right. So listen, so I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll keep talking. Go ahead, huh?
Yeah, when you initially invited me, I was excited and nervous at the same time. So, and as we know too, if we want to grow, we have to step out of our comfort zone. So that's pretty much what I did. I said, you know what? Although I'm nervous, let me come on here. I'm going to be your guest. And the same thing now with me being the co-host. This is something that I kind of always wanted to do as well too, because I really do enjoy educating people, especially the next generation. So that's why I agreed to be, the co-host with you guys. And
that's good. We're better for it. So Bridget, if you want to start and let people know a little bit about yourself before you do, we know this is called Bldng Legacies, and we're going to be talking about entertainment. We're going to be talking about, education. We also going to be talking about financial literacy, finance, things of those nature. So we're going to try to touch on a lot of different topics. And we're going to hopefully try to make sure that we stay on par and don't get too crazy out here. We're not going to be running around we're not going to be doing too much out here. But yeah, Bridget, introduce yourself and let the people know who you are and what you're about.
Sure. Okay. So like you said, my name is Bridget. I'm a native New Yorker. So I was actually...
It's a good time to be a New Yorker with the sports teams doing what they do.
Right, definitely.
So I was born in Harlem, USA. So I reside in the Bronx the majority of my life. I currently still live here in the Bronx with my husband and my 2 children. And like you mentioned, I'm a full-time real estate investor. Prior to getting into real estate, I worked in the healthcare industry. So I worked as a registered nurse. I worked my way up the ladder, the nursing ladder. So I started out as a certified nursing assistant, and I became a licensed practical nurse, and then I became a registered nurse. So the majority of my nursing career, I worked as a registered nurse. I worked on a graveyard shift. I want to give a shout out to all the healthcare workers out there, all the nurses out there. And back in 2018, I was able to walk away from my job due to the wonderful world of real estate investing. So just kind of like jumped in full force back in 2018. I went and got my real estate license in New York. And I've just been loving the journey. Really, really, really passionate about real estate, what it has done, for me and my family, as far as time freedom, financial freedom. And I'm just here to spread as much knowledge and wealth, to as many people as I can, especially the younger generation.
All right. Yeah, that's excellent. And just want to add on, particularly with real estate, as we know, that's one of the best. Real estate, obviously the stock market, one of the best vehicles to build wealth, generational wealth, because it's a tangible asset, something that you could pass down to your next generation that they can inherit, and also something that increases in value without you're doing any much manual labor. You know what I mean? Just naturally it increases in value. So real estate is excellent. I enjoy real estate as well. Something I've been studying for a while, and I've been in the market myself last few years. But the interest rates and everything was kind of crazy for a minute, so I just kind of sat on the sidelines and just was watching. But I think now it's a great time to get back into it as far as what I was doing. But definitely real estate, and we're glad to have you on because of your experience with real estate. You could teach our viewers just some practical things, maybe how to get started. I know you keep your thumb on the pulse of the market, so which is necessary, as far as what's going on currently, like I said, with interest rates, which is vital to the bottom line ultimately when you make an investment. How much, if you borrow money, what is that money costing you? You know what I mean? So
right. Your return on investment, that's very important. And also, too, my husband will always make a joke. So, whatever you're doing, you're going to have good times and you're going to have bad times. So my husband always say, well, when we have the bad times with some tenants and then they have to wind up leaving and they have to go. So the good thing about it is that they can't take the real estate with them. They pack up their stuff and they go, but the real estate is still there and you have it to get it ready for the next tenant. So he always say, say it jokingly that they can't take it with them. Like it's a physical asset, so it's there, it's tangible.
Yeah. Right. So that's a good joke. I was always wondering. I'm gonna tell you what I was always wondering, because a lot of people always want to get into something. They want to escape the rat race, and they want to be able to move away from their 9 to 5. A lot of people, I can't say everybody, but as far as real estate, even though we know, like he said, that is a nice lucrative business to get into, it doesn't consist of any too much labor personally on yourself unless you're hands on. But I'm interested to know that spark, as far as you, Bridget, from making a transition from being a nurse. I like to know, what was the steps? Did you first have the idea, the concept, and after that idea and concept, what made you put your feet in the fire and say, you know what, I'm going to invest this first amount of money and see what happens to it? What gave you that courage to do that?
Well, that's a great question, and my take on it in life, we're supposed to always be growing. So, like I just mentioned to you, when I first started out in my nursing career, I may have been maybe 20 years old. I started out as a nursing assistant. I looked at my friend. He was making about $12 an hour. I was like, wow, that was a lot of money back then. So, when that, my certificate and became a certified nursing assistant. And then I didn't want to stop there, so I went back to school. To become an RN, and then along the way, I became an LPN, and I became an RN, and I went and got my BSN. And so it's showing you the growth. You always want to be growing. And so after I obtained my BSN in nursing, I was just looking at a lot of my superiors. So then the next level is, management supervisor. And they all seem to be like working 2 jobs, still trying to, make ends meet.
Yeah, they burnt out.
Not totally happy and fulfilled, And so I was looking, I'm like, I don't want that to be my trajectory. I don't want that to be. I don't want to, and there's nothing wrong with, working a job into retirement age. That's what you choose to do. But that's just something that I felt I didn't want to do. So after, I obtained my BSN, I felt like I was stagnant. Like, that was it. I didn't want to go up into management. And so I was like doing the same thing day in, day out. I did enjoy working and helping my patients. However, I thought there was something more. And so I was introduced. I used to self-educate myself. I used to read financial magazines, Kipling, Money Magazine, anything I could get my hands on, I would read it just to educate myself. I started trying to learn about the stock market. That always just seemed like confusing to me. And so when someone introduced me to real estate, I had went to my first real estate event. Robert Kiyosaki, he was there and he was selling his book. And then I purchased the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then I felt that this was something that I could possibly do, where with the stock market, I didn't understand, all the investing, and I didn't understand that. So what I would always tell people too, you want to understand what you're getting into. If you're starting a business, you want to do your due diligence. Whatever type of business it may be, you're going to invest in the stock market. You need to have an understanding of it yourself. And so with the real estate, it seemed pretty simple, to me. And so I wind up going, that route. And then I just had like this desire to not have to, work for money, exchanging hours for dollars. And I just kept at it. I just kept at it, So whatever it is that you're trying to do in life, you want to stay at it and be persistent and consistent, and you will reach that goal. So it's just like I had this burning.
So basically, so Bridget, basically after that meeting, you said when he was there, that's what gave you that spark that said, you know what, when I leave this conference or this meeting, I'm going right after it. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in. I'm gonna jump in.
Yeah, with the real estate, but even prior to going to that conference, I knew that there was more life. That I had done reached the ceiling in my nursing career, and it was time for me to do something different. I just didn't know exactly, what that was going to be. And so when I went to the real estate event, that's when I kind of had that aha moment, like, this would be, the way for me to be able to, build some wealth. And, right at that moment, I wasn't, thinking exactly then, okay, well, this is going to allow me to get out my job. But I feel that will allow me to get a sense of, some financial freedom, stop exchanging hours for, dollars when you're working, at a job. That's what you're actually doing. And then two, you're going to be capped, I don't care if you're making $100, $200, $300 an hour, but so many hours in a day that you can work. Right. So a job is not scalable, whereas a business is, real estate is, I guess the stock market, can be, So enough about me. I want to hear about you guys.
Keep going.
Yeah.
And Eric, I want to hear about you guys. So I have a question for you, Stanley. So I know that you're a business owner, and I actually brought one of your products, some nice white, like kind of nice pants. Gold fingers, right? That's what it's called. Gold fingers.
Gold fingerprints.
Fingerprints.
So I know you have that business. So tell me how did you get started with that, and how is that coming along?
Well, it's coming along. It's coming along. Let's say that it's coming along. But if you're willing to sacrifice the time and the energy, then you'll see the rewards. So for me, I've been at this maybe for about 4 years now. It haven't reached where I wanted to reach to, or even cracked the surface that I wanted to crack. But it comes with longevity. It comes with patience, and it comes with time. So basically, the name Gold Fingerprints, it started because, of the way we was living in the streets, the way we was running around, and how back then people always gave you, the no, you can't do this, you can't do this, you have a bad seed, you this, you that. Everything was a negative connotation when it came to us, and we actually fed into it, and we actually started living that life. So long story short, when I came home, I said to myself, I was actually rewriting the first book that I wrote. So when I was rewriting it, I was trying to think of a name for the company to put the book out on under my own imprint. So that's how I came up with Gold Fingerprints. So I transitioned from that and made it into a clothing brand that says, Gold Fingerprints. And people always ask me, what does that mean? Well, it means where everything you touch turns to gold. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you on a job. It doesn't matter if you're raising kids. It doesn't matter, if you're working, if you're assisting somebody, if you're chasing your dreams, if you work hard enough, anything you touch turns to gold. So I started to just research it. And then I came across all of the e-com platforms. I said to myself, how can I get this going with as minimal startup capital as possible? And so we know we can use the third-party vendors like Printful and things like that, and you can set it up on your Shopify store. So that's basically how I started. I started creating the design, and I said, let me put it on some imprints and let me get started. fair. Some people is buying, some is not. But as the years go by, I get better and better with the designs. I get more knowledgeable in trying to reach customers.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the main things that I did when I was creating this clothing brand, I had to teach myself the Facebook advertising. I had to teach myself the Google advertisement, So I knew about it, but I didn't really know it until I dug deep inside of it. So I taught myself that, the Facebook and the Google advertisements. And it's coming along, but you also have to realize your customer acquisition. So the more you spend, the more rate of return you would get. And that's where I've been at a standstill. I'm still at a standstill because I haven't really pushed enough currency into it. But like I said, I love the brand. It has a long way to go, and we still going strong.
Yeah, because
I didn't cut you. I just wanted to say something to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the thing, I know my daughter, she has a clothing brand as well too, and I know the one thing that really has helped her is that with that marketing. So I mean, she's the younger generation, so she's
absolutely
constantly putting out content.
Yep.
And these young people, they are buying her things. So that marketing is so important.
She got a good brand too. What's the name of it? Because I seen it online and I said, yo, these pieces look good. What's the name of it, Bridget?
Born Star, TianaOsborne.com. Yeah. And actually she's gonna start I shouldn't put that out there, so I'll wait until it actually happens. But she's close to it. On the next session, I'll talk about it.
Okay, we'll do that because she's gonna be on in one episode. And saying, are we gonna interview the next millionaire?
Yeah, yes. And so, so Eric, I know that you have a trucking business, right?
Yeah.
And so, I guess the question I have to you, like, what is it exactly, that you're doing with, trucking business? Are you doing it by yourself? Are you a solopreneur? Do you have people helping you? Like what kind of trucks? I know my husband, he used to actually drive a truck. So I know there's a lot involved with just, maintaining, a truck. So I just want to know a little bit about you and your trucking business and what, hurt you to, start your own trucking business.
Okay. Well, initially with trucking, why I was inspired to get started with trucking. It's just been something on the back of my mind for years. You know what I mean? It was just the industry, hearing about the industry, the value of the industry. Because one thing about trucking, just transportation in general. Now, a lot of times with transportation, we trying to get bogged down with just the trucking, but there's so many other areas of transportation that's lucrative as well, like logistics companies. There's other things surrounding the actual. By the time a product gets to the truck, you know what I'm saying? That's like the last step. There's so many other ways to get involved in the trucking and transportation industry. But what inspired me, I remember I was talking to a guy one time, and he was talking about trucking. He actually owned a couple of trucks prior to him getting incarcerated. So he was just telling me the ease with which he was able to acquire the trucks. He was telling me, and it stuck with me. He was like, the barrier to entry was low. Because I was thinking about what can I do that, like you said, it's going to require some capital, but minimal. And like trucking. And the thing about trucking as well, it's non-discriminatory, meaning I haven't encountered no discrimination in any form.
You were saying that the barrier is low. I would think the opposite because I mean trucks, they cost a lot of money, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, depending on because you can find a cheaper truck, which I don't recommend because you may have all kind of problems with the truck. But trucks, I mean, I guess there'll be a lot of money. It depends. Because not necessarily because now if you want a brand new truck, obviously you're going to pay top dollar. But if you go back,
but it's almost like not to cut you off, but it's almost like what she's saying. It's just like, let's say I wanted to get a new car, finance it, try to get credit right and things like that. So is that the barrier to entry you talking about? That that's a low barrier to entry, fixing that?
No, because meaning when I say low barrier to entry, just like it's just wide open.
Okay.
As the field, right? And like I said, it's definitely going to require a little capital. You know what I mean? Credit if you're going to finance, because they got truck. You could go on like Facebook, somebody selling a truck, but you don't know what you're getting with that. I encourage guys to, go to a reputable dealer, because you don't want to be, you purchase your truck and then 2 months you're on the side of the highway, because now the downtime that you're missing money because of the downtime, the truck in the shop for 3 months, the loss of revenue, right? Because you're not actively making any money. So, but you don't need a top of the line. So when I say barrier to entry, meaning like it's just wide open, like meaning you don't need, it's no one like, it's no gatekeepers. You know what I mean? I could put you in a truck tomorrow, like, you know what I'm saying? If you got the basic requirements, you know what I mean? You got a few $1,000s. And some companies, you can rent a truck, and this is what I consult to as well. I want to get into that, show guys that if they don't have a down payment for their own truck, you can actually rent, which would be cheaper. There's certain companies would allow you to go to like Ryder, Budget, all these different places, and they will allow you to use rental trucks to haul your freight. So that's another thing that I teach too.
By the day?
Say that again?
By the day? You can rent it by the day, or it has to be by the week?
It'll be weekly. Now, if you rent it by the day, it'll be like too expensive. You get a weekly contract with them, and well, depending if you go through like Amazon, you get a discount. So it's a lot with that when I consult guys. Because if you signed up with Amazon, you get a better rate with the rental company, specifically with the Ryder. But anyway, so that's what I mean when I say the barrier to entry. It's like you don't need no degrees. You know what I mean? I encourage people to read at least 2 books, learning the different aspects, how to deal with brokers, dispatchers. But like I said, you build credit, save a little money, right? So you got people working their jobs, you get your income tax money, save about 2 years, right? And then you're in. And what I was saying a minute ago, where like I said, it's like non-discriminatory in a sense, whereas your background doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Because I mean, for our viewers, I know y'all haven't seen us in a while, but y'all know I talked about my experience with incarceration. I talked briefly about that. So having a felony conviction does not limit you. Every contract that I received, they never asked anything. They don't care. Their concern is, do you have the proper insurance? And can you take this from here to there? You understand what I'm saying? So that's one thing I promote to guys that maybe previously incarcerated, have a knack for driving. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I'll drive 7 hours total every night. You know what I mean? I done got so used to it. It feel like 2 hours. But yeah, I'll get back into a lot more of that in a few. But yeah, what inspired me to get into it was there was something that I knew that I could do and be my own boss. So to answer one of your questions, currently I'm an owner operator, but I have employed people as well. When I was working with other companies, required other hands. So I was able to have my sons working with me, a good friend of mine working with me, other guys I had working with me, some good experiences with that. So I employed people, which felt good. I was able to, put some money in guys' pockets. It was just like back in the days. I don't want to get onto that, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I enjoy the trucking industry. I've been in the trucking industry as an owner operator, coming up on 3 years. It's been good. It's been ups and downs because it's a lot of,
you're gonna have that with everything.
Right, with everything. It's a lot of nuances that sometimes the books don't necessarily prepare you for, because you read the books, you say, okay, I got it. But a lot of the times they miss out the nuances, right, that you're going to learn from experience. And you have to be sharp on your toes if you want to survive and to maintain. So, like I said, I enjoy what I do. Like I said, I was able to employ people. It's consistent, and it allows me to I create my own schedule. You know what I mean? And you know, and that's something that's valuable to me, being able to go and come as I please.
Right, right.
I don't I don't like limitations on on my money. You know what I mean? Because like when you work in a job, they may offer some overtime, they may not. You know what I mean? Or if they do offer overtime, they cap you. I don't like that. You know what I mean? I like to. Sometimes I work 2 weeks straight, 30 days straight, no days off, like a savage. You know what I'm saying? That's my That's just my personality. I've been slowing down lately. I've been like, I'm running myself in the ground.
But don't they have a cap as well too? Because I mean, I've been up and down that 95 so many times, driving from New York to North Carolina to go see some of my rental properties, and I know that with the trucking industry, there's a great need for this because that's all you see are trucks there. But I thought that they have like certain checkpoints where you had to log in,
Yeah,
and then would see how long you've been on the road, and then they would limit how
right.
you actually drive. Is that correct or not?
No, that's correct. It's called hours of service. Now, me, I drive locally, right? So I'm not bound, and I stay within about 150 uh, mile radius. So I'm not bound by those requirements. Now you have guys. See, I own a box truck. I just for clarity, I have a 26-foot box truck. So I don't have a tractor trailer. Now these guys be actually on the road for months, sometime at a time. I'm home every day. You know what I mean?
Okay, you're doing local.
I'm local, so I might drive 3 hours I may go to Tennessee, 3 hours back. I'm home, so I'm still within the hours of service. But you are correct that they do have hours of service, and it's very necessary because that's why you see a lot of accidents with truckers because they pushing it to the limit. You're sleepy, you know what I mean? But you're trying to get that money because you may work for a company paying you about a mile. So you're like, man, I got to rake up these miles, right? Mm-hmm. And you're tired, you're behind that wheel, and you end up in a ditch or worse.
Yeah, safety is first. Yeah, safety is first. So, I mean, now, so you gave us a little snapshot about your business. So, where do you see yourself 5 years with your trucking business? Are you looking to grow and expand? You know, maybe not so much you driving the truck, maybe having other people coming in driving the truck. Like, what do you see?
Right. Yeah, no, that's absolutely the goal. Because actually, within the next year, my plan is that I'm not behind the wheel of a truck anymore. I'm working on some other things, you know what I mean, that we could get into that I've been studying. I had some good mentors teaching me some things. But my goal is to, by maybe 1 more year or less, actually being behind the wheel of a truck and just putting guys. But currently I do, like the money's great, you know what I mean? So, and with the, it's all expenses I have right now, I just got to do what I have to do. But the goal is to put some guys behind the truck so we're going to free me up to do some other things so I can experience. So that's definitely the goal.
Okay. So you want to start leveraging other people's time, and that's definitely one of the principles, you know, building legacies, you know, building wealth is you got to start leveraging other people's, you know, time. So you're looking to do that. That's how only way you can really grow and expand in any kind of business. You want to leverage other people's time. And this is, you know, where we have employees, you know,
right,
businesses, and that they will help, you know, your business to grow.
Absolutely. Yeah, you get your time back. And I seen a quote, I think it was from, I'm trying to think, was it Rockefeller? One of those like robber barons, right? And he said, it was a quote that people work too much to make money. I'm paraphrasing it, but it was something to that effect, meaning that if you're working all day long at a job, I mean, you're making money probably to sustain yourself, pay your bills, maybe take a vacation once a year. But a lot of the times, if you don't have to be at a particular place all day long, or, you know what I mean, this allows you to really, whether you start to making investments, traveling, networking. But if you're stuck behind a desk all day, it's hard to really make money. And I understood what he meant by money, like some real money. You know what I mean? Not just enough money to sustain you, like actual real money. You need your freedom, especially if you are a mind that, whether it's investing in the stock market, whether it's trading, the stock market, networking. But if you stuck somewhere all day long, it's hard to really make money.
Yeah, I agree, because that's what they call the opportunity cost. So it's like if you're doing A, then that means you don't have time to do B. Understand
Right.
me? So
Right.
you got to kind of decide which one is more important, what you're going to do. Because it's only but 24 hours in a day, and we all have the same amount of 24 hours. So
Right.
you sitting there and you just feel
I'm soaking it up. I'm soaking it up because I'm actually happy that we started. No. I'm actually happy that we started, and I know sometimes I can go on and on and on, and I got to be stopped sometimes. But it both of you answered the question that I initially asked you, Bridget, as far as what made you want to. Either one of you want to just say it went from an idea, a passion, an idea, thought, and tangibly said, "I'm gonna sit down and do it." And I guess I gave the same idea. That was for me fighting the fear that you may have. That's the difference between, those who want to be employed and those who want to employ. And what I'm learning is that I had to tone myself down to a degree because everybody I met, everybody I talked to, I kept saying, man, you got to be your own business. You got to do your own thing. You got to try to be an entrepreneur. And quite frankly, it's just not for everyone, and you can't keep badgering people. I had to realize that it was more of a badger. And then basically some people will look at me and be like, okay, hold on. I know you want to be your own boss, but you ain't quite there yet to be telling me to quit my job, and do something else. I had to realize that, like you gotta be successful in your endeavors in order for more people to listen to you and in order for people to pay you attention and say, you know what, well, he was right because look, he took a chance and did that. And I guess maybe the information he given me is something that I can soak up and I can take in. Yeah, so for me, I'm glad we started back up. I'm happy we started back up, and we got a lot to offer. We got a lot to give. We got a new co-host. We're gonna have new guests coming on, and we're gonna have a good time. I know. Me and you, E, we talk all the time. So you was talking about the brother that's the richest. Is this the richest black man in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Yeah, richest black man in the U.S. Because it's about 12 billionaires in the U.S. or something like that.
Black billionaires.
Black billionaires. Let me get that right. And he's the richest.
He's the richest.
So what is that number? You said it's 12?
Yes. 12 total black billionaires. And we know most of the names. Some we don't know. And I'm going to expand on that because a lot of times we only know the sports and entertainment people that come through that vein. But the sports, LeBron is a billionaire now. We know Jay-Z. We know I believe Tiger Woods.
Don't forget the women now. There's women in it too.
Oh, Sheila, what's her name? Hold on, I'm sorry, I want to get it wrong.
Yeah, also Rihanna. I think Rihanna. Yes.
Yep.
See her name there.
Yep, she's on the list. Sheila Johnson, which is Bob Johnson, the actual founder of BET. His wife, she's on the list. Who else? But yeah, the richest now total is about 800 and maybe 15 billionaires total in the U.S.
That's a lot of money.
Collectively, they control like trillions of dollars. I mean, no, as far as the companies, the actual companies, because they have, they involve, the names we know, like the Jeff Bezos, the big names. But now, like I said, but it's only 12 black billionaires, and which is good. I would like to see, more of us, into that tax bracket and that stratosphere, because when you think about it, it's 800 and something billionaires and only 12 black, right? But based on historical factors, we know discrimination and a lot of challenges that we face. Just breaking through that barrier, it's a process in and of itself. But I think we're going to increase our numbers. You know what I mean? We have more entrepreneurs today,
more financial literacy, which is
more financial literacy.
right.
But yeah, the guy, his name is David Stewart, and I think he have a net worth of about 12 billion.
Oh wow!
Between 11.5 and 12 billion. And one thing I liked about his story and him, he's an older gentleman, but he didn't come through the vein of entertainment. And ain't nothing wrong with that. But I think too many of us think that's our only way to reach.
Right.
That's the vehicle, yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's being shown to us. Either we got to know how to play ball, even though we see the rap, and then use that as a catalyst to get to that level. But this particular guy, he went through the tech industry.
Wow, nice. Okay.
Right. He started his company in 1990, and with a $250,000 capital investment.
Yeah.
But just to put that in context, $250,000 back in 1990 is the equivalent of about $650,000 in today's dollars.
Yeah.
Just adjusted for inflation. So he was doing well because even back then, but he made the investment and grew his business in the tech industry and well respected. And he actually first started out, he went through the SBA, right? The Small
Business Administration, right.
As a minority owned company, so he was able to utilize the resources of the SBA. And they actually gave him an award. They said he was like the best company that came through that channel and take it to the level which he's taking it to now. So he comes from humble beginnings as well. Comes from the South, the segregated South.
Yes, I think I did hear about that, and then I think also too. What I want to just reiterate, because I did watch a short video of it. I know you had sent it to me. So everyone thinks, they'll see people's success, but they don't see what they had to do to get to that level of success. And he also mentioned that his car was repossessed.
Right.
It actually came in the parking lot, the company parking lot, and repossessed his car. And he said there was weeks that he did without a paycheck where he didn't get paid. He had to ensure, I guess, that his employees got paid, and he had to ensure that he had money for his products and stuff like that too. So these are the things that go unseen.
Right.
That, we as entrepreneurs have to do that the public is not aware. They don't see it.
Right.
They just think that, okay, well, you become an entrepreneur and there's going to be a bowl of cherries, and that's not always the case.
Right.
You're ups, you're going to have your downs. So
that's right.
So yeah, and so now today he's worth how many billions? But these are the sacrifices that he had to take and encounter in order for him to get to where he's at today. But that's very impressive, especially for you young people out there, that it's possible,
Yeah, definitely, it's definitely possible that we lost Kai.
Yes, Stan. Okay, yeah. So, so this is an actually book that you read, or
No, I did some research on him, and I was trying to find a biography of him because I was just interested in him once I became aware of him, because I know I've heard of, I don't know if you may be familiar with Robert Smith. He is
yes, Robert Smith.
Right, I think he was the actual richest black man in America. He's worth about 10 billion, 10 or 11 billion. So he's right behind David Stewart. So when I learned about David Stewart and just his background, it was interesting, and I'm always inspired by the rags to riches story, the humble beginnings story. You know what I mean?
So he's self-made millionaire. So that's very impressive because he wasn't given a handout, for him to start. So
Right, wasn't given a handout. He believed in himself. He wrote a couple of books too. I want to order. They kind of faith based, but he uses scripture, his understanding of scripture, and how he was able to apply the wisdom of scripture and how to apply it to his life and business.
oh wow,
You
oh
know,
wow, yeah, okay.
he has 2 books that I haven't read, but I'm definitely going to get around to them. But yeah, he had an interesting story, and also he's involved in not prison reform per se, but in helping guys that's been previously incarcerated
Okay.
with their transition back into society. He has a nonprofit organization
Okay.
that he's funding, and they raise hundreds of millions of dollars
Wow, nice. Okay. Giving back.
to give it back. So that was impressive to me as well, that he's helping out the community, because he's aware, just coming from where he comes from, of the plight of African American males coming out of these impoverished neighborhoods, resourceless neighborhoods, and as we know, neighborhoods that's not invested in substantially. We see all of these different aspects as far as crime and just dysfunctional lifestyles. You know what I mean? So him being aware of that, he wanted to get involved and just try to invest in it. So I thought that was interesting as well.
Yeah, and that's definitely always important. They say too that the Bible is one of the best business books out there. It's like you said, a lot of his stuff is,
Right.
biblical and Bible based. So I've heard that. And, there's a saying too in like that, God gave us 2 hands. Understand me, one to help ourselves and the other one to pull someone up. So as we going up that ladder, we should not just be thinking about ourselves. We should be looking to see how we can pull somebody up that ladder as well too. And
Right.
that may be involved like what we're doing here. We're trying to educate the public when it comes to finances, financial literacy, building businesses, building legacies. So we putting this information out there for the public so that we can help them as well. I mean, it's just the other day, my daughter, my daughter, she's 22 years old.
Okay.
And one of her friends had reached out to me. She just graduated from college and she's working, I thought she was working as a property manager, but actually she's working as a consultant. And she reached out. She had sent me the text the other day. And she called me auntie. And she's like, "Hey, auntie." And I was like, "What's going on?" And so she's out in Atlanta. So she went to school in Atlanta. So she's out there living there. And she's like, "Anything about commercial real estate?" And so I was telling her that I had taken a course some time ago. So she, she's looking, she wants to get into commercial real estate. And I was like, wow, this is where her mind is at, where she's thinking at. And she's 21, 22 years old,
Right.
So I was like, listen, we need to talk, And so, I mean, at that age, most 22-year-olds probably don't have the capital, to really get into commercial real estate. But for her to even have that, to be thinking about that. So this is where she needs to start with her education and start educating herself.
Right.
And so that, maybe if she doesn't have the capital, she may be able to partner with someone that does, but you have to get yourself educated. So I tell her, listen, let's definitely jump on a call and, and I can, impart my wisdom, what I do know, or kind of guide her in the right direction.
Right.
As far as like what podcast she may want to listen to. When I was first starting my real estate journey, I was like addicted to Bigger Pockets.
Right. Yeah, I follow them as well.
Yeah. And I was like, I did not miss an episode. There was this like average people like you and I, and they would talk about how they got into real estate, what they're doing. If it allowed them to leave their job. And it was just like, very encouraging to hear other people's stories. So that's when you start to really believe in yourself and say, hey, they did this, I can do this as well too. And so that's what, we're all about here with, Bldng Legacies, is that we want to inspire others too, that, you can, do exactly what it is that, we're doing as well. I thought Stan was joining us. I guess I'm not sure what happened.
He got cut off. Yeah, but we gonna hold it down. But Yeah, so that's good. Your daughter's friend, and as I think about it, this generation, because there's still some hope when I hear stories like that. This younger generation, because sometimes what we see in the media, right? Whether it's music and entertainment, you see younger generation, you start to get a little discouraged. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll be like, oh man, we going to hell in a handbasket. But that's just one image. And you have a lot of young people out there. They are ambitious. They have way more access to information that we didn't have. You know, I'm 40, at our ages. Um, so that's why I'm impressed. But I also understand, like they have the internet, they have social media, so
Right. We didn't have that. We
yeah,
had encyclopedias.
exactly.
You
And
find something and they're looking at a encyclopedia. We didn't have that, so they have a lot of information at their fingertips too. And I would say that a lot of younger people, they're more like into entrepreneurship, and I think it's even more important these days because a lot of jobs, they are doing away with these pensions. So I was privileged to work at a job, and then once you work a certain amount of years, you're entitled to that pension once you get retirement age. But the jobs nowadays are doing away with that. So you're
right,
just working, for pay. And then when you do reach that retirement age, if you're not saving and preparing for retirement, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen,
right,
So this is where that entrepreneurship can help supplement the money that they're making at a job, and then this can help with their retirement.
right.
Because they don't have pensions like they did, when we were younger. They're going to be done with that,
That because actually you had it was Wall Street. They intervened because pension was more or less like a government sponsored kind of initiative. Now, then you see that with the advent of the 401k, right? And Wall Street was able to influence that because now they got their hands in the pot. So you see with these 401ks are essentially are investments into Wall Street, these companies and things of that nature. And then you're seeing some people's 401k portfolio, it fluctuates sometimes with the market.
Yeah, I
And
was going to say it's volatile. You can lose it.
exactly, you can lose it. And I seen something when a woman was showing how she just lost her money.
Yeah.
She was dependent on for retirement. So it's nothing guaranteed. So I think that, but see, that's the old mindset. And we or generations coming behind us is starting to learn like, hold on, I can't depend on my
Right.
job to take care of me. The pension thing is obsolete. Social Security is washed up. I read a report. They said in about maybe 2035, 2040, Social Security going to be bankrupt. Because if you understand the way it's even funded, Social Security,
Right.
like a Peter pay Paul. So some people got this thing that they think that, they putting money into Social Security, they taking money out your check every week or bi-weekly, that money is being saved for you.
No, that's for the people who's collecting right now.
And now, so it's a
Right.
Peter Paul. So now when you get of age, they're going to be looking for the generations behind you to cover. So just the way it's funded is just not secure as people
Yeah.
think that it is.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see something like.
I had just read an article and they were saying that the average 55-year-old has less than $50,000 saved for retirement. Okay. And
Right.
so that is a very sad statistics. And they were saying that the older generation now are going to become dependent on their children for living expenses as they get older because
Right.
they don't have enough money saved for retirement. So this is where that entrepreneurship too is even more important. So, with the entrepreneurship and, you're able to get to that level of financial freedom, then you won't have as many worries when going into retirement, because if there's no pension to help, sustain your life, but then you've done well with your business, your entrepreneurship, you're self-funding your own retirement. That's exactly what, like I'm doing, with the real estate investing. I mean, I'm one of the lucky ones that, I put in a certain amount of years at my job. So once I do reach retirement age, I'm entitled to a pension, but
Right.
they are doing away with that.
Right.
So, yeah. So, that's why it's even more important for young people to start be thinking, along these lines, because before you know it, you're going to be right there.
Exactly. And that's what I wanted. That's what I was thinking too, that sometime when you 20, 25, you can't see that far. Right. And I remember my father told me something one time. He said he remember he was like about 30. He said he woke up, he was 55. He said he don't know what happened.
He went to sleep at 30 and woke up at 55.
55. Man, he said, man, time just got away from him. So, and I remember being young like that, like you can't see that far. You know what I mean? Think about retirement. But that's very important. And particularly having a real estate portfolio where you've got passive income from X amount of doors, you have money to sustain your lifestyle, because even if you have in retirement $500,000, you retire at 55. People are living longer today. You may live till 90. You know what I mean? Even if you got $1 million. So that may require you to have to, if that's the only thing you have to live off of, you may have to downsize. You get what I'm saying? Depending on your lifestyle, if that's all you have. So that stream of income, like it's very important, as opposed to just a lump sum. You know what I mean? So okay, I have this. When you think about it, how much do you spend annually currently?
Right.
Is that enough to last you another 30 years? You know what I mean? So that's important to consider. You know what I mean? So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, young people have to to think about these things, and like you said too, sometimes it's so hard to think so far out in the future, but just know what you do today is going to prepare for your tomorrows.
Right.
And so, I'm sitting here today is like what I did in my yesterdays is what helped me to get where I'm at today.
Right.
So you got to be thinking along those lines, and even if you're not young, just where you are today, what you're doing today is going to prepare your tomorrow. So we all need to be thinking along, those lines. I think we're getting now close to the close of the hour.
Yeah, about to wrap this up. We lost our co-host, Stan. He actually just texted me, told us, I told him we holding it down. You know what I mean?
Yes, we doing it without you, Stan. Okay, so I mean, like we ain't giving you the boot, but we doing it without you. We still holding it down. Though you was having some technical issues,
right?
But we are, I'm super excited to be part of, this podcast, Bldng Legacies, and I'm really hoping to impart a lot of wisdom to our watchers, viewership. Want to bring some really exciting things, to this platform. Looking forward to it. And so,
because there's a lot going on. Just socially. Now, I know our podcast is geared more toward financial literacy, just educational, but I think education is multifaceted. You know what I mean? Meaning it don't have to be necessarily just one lane, but what we want to bring to the viewers is the content, which is informative and educational, but current what's going on, and we bring our perspectives. There's a lot going on with individuals, companies that we're seeing their legacies impacted in multiple ways by decisions that they made that we could potentially learn from. You see individuals going from being worth $1 billion today, making a wrong decision or a wrong choice. You see their net worth decline by half. Based on certain things. So certain things we could watch out for in our travels and our journey. But yeah, it's a great podcast. Good,
And also, too, in closing, too, just want to let people know that when we talk about building legacies, it's not all just financial. Understand me? Building legacies does deal with money. It deals with relationships, too. It's about having those strong, positive relationships, okay? It's dealing with health. Your wealth is your health. Understand me? So it's a lot of areas that it covers. It's just not finances. So you want to be well-rounded in a lot of different areas. So just, keep that in mind when you think about building legacies. When people think about wealth, they're always just thinking about financial, the money aspect, but it's more than just, the money aspect.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I remember, if some of our viewers could go back, that's been following us from day one, we done a podcast and we kind of went in on the various aspects of legacy, like just, dealing with your reputation is your legacy. Because when we all going to have a rendezvous with death, right? So what are you going to leave behind in terms of your name, your reputation? You know what I mean? And I don't think enough people put enough thought into that. And, and if they did, maybe they would be a little more intentional, I think, about decisions that they're making. So you hit it right on the head as far as legacies deal with way more than money, but we see it applied mainly to finance and wealth building and leaving behind tangible assets and things of that nature. But your personal legacy,
right.
What does that involve? So that's a great point.
Right. How did you impact lives and not just financially? Understand me?
Right. That's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. Coming up on an hour is the great show. Since we've done this, it's been about 9-10 months. A lot been going on. We've been busy. Just our personal lives. A lot been going on. We're gonna share some things with you all as time go on. But we're glad to have Bridget here with us. She's definitely an asset. She's bringing value to the podcast.
Like female touch, like they talk about the Midas touch. You got the female touch here.
And that's so essential. You know what I mean? Because that feminine presence and perspective. You know what I mean? That intuitiveness, everything that a female could bring. So it's so valuable. So we're definitely grateful for that as well. And just with your background and your knowledge, you're so knowledgeable, articulate. You just everything that we needed to help us, get to the next level with this podcast. So with that being said, we're going to sign off. Ty, we miss you. We had a little technical difficulty, but we'll be back strong. So Bridget, it was an honor. I appreciate you. And see you next time.
And thank you guys all for tuning in. See you next time.
See you next time. Peace. So we could just log off. He'll edit it out, the end and all of that. Because he texted me and told me we're just going to keep it moving. But he said we could just sign off and then he would,
The thing about it is that I was texting him. And I don't know if you noticed, but while we was taping, I'm not sure if he can fix that, but his video quality was very poor. He looked fuzzy.
Right. Can that happen before? But when it actually airs, it's going to be clear.
Oh, it
fixes. It kind of corrects itself. Because I remember before we were shooting, and it was the same issue, and I inquired on it, but we kept going, and then it corrected itself, so which is good.
So I can't think it was not bad. I think too, if when I guess what I was thinking as well too, like when we do like future podcasts, maybe we will have like a specific topic that we're going to talk about.
Right.
Topic specific, because sometimes people may want to tune in to a specific like topic, know what the topic is. So I think we definitely should have that. That's going to be needed. I know this was the first one, so we were just talking in general, just talking about ourselves and stuff like that. Right. Yeah. So
actually, the topic of the richest or the wealthiest Black billionaire, that was supposed to be independent of the first one was just to be about us, just getting reacquainted. And then Todd sometimes he brought it up, so we just went into it. But that initially was supposed to be a topic in and of itself and not included with this initial one was just supposed to be about us just catching up to, just getting you acquainted with the viewers. I mean, but it's all good, but we definitely got to stay on topic. You know what I mean? And whatever we decide.
What we doing? Yeah, 'cause I don't want to like they just like. I mean, I know they're gonna love our presence, but I don't want them to just they tune in. We just rambling on, just talking. Like
but next time, we definitely gonna have a specific topic. Whether, like I said, we discussed an individual today, but like I said, I had some notes. I just wanted to talk specifically about him, or that topic, Black billionaires, in his own separate show. But I guess we could revisit that at some point as well. But yeah, it was good. I think we did well. Man, I have time to cut off the end of this, so got us just on here just rambling.
Yeah, okay, yeah, he'll cut this out, and I guess too, like when he edit, he'll send it to us for us to review before they actually air,
right. Yeah, check it out. And then we're gonna put out like clips, like little minute clips. You know what I mean? Help increase the viewership because we already monetized. We just got to get the views up and get the once you get the views up, you get the advertising, and this is when revenue starts being generated. I mean, which is the ultimate goal, Mm-hmm. But it was a pleasure, Bridget. I appreciate you.
Same here.
You did well. I'm about to call see what happened and everything. But yeah, we'll talk. We come up with a topic. If you got something you come across during the week, like something that may you may see, just shoot it to us, and then so we could just get abreast, and then we could use it as a topic. You know what I mean?
Okay, we need to start thinking about. So with the next one, are we going to just be the three of us, or are we going to be like interviewing someone? I mean, we got to discuss that to see, and then if it's just going to be us, like what topic? What are we going to actually be teaching? We want, them to be able to have some takeaways and have learned something during the episode.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely we'll build on that and figure that out. But yeah, it was a pleasure, Bridget. I'm gonna let you go.
Same here.
All right. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.